Hey, everybody. It is I. I have not posted here in a minute. Well, I posted a few things here and there, but I thought maybe I would make my presence known. Taking a little walk here today. As you can see, it is fall here in Atlanta. I don't know if you can see some of the colors in the trees there. Of course, it is in the mid 80s. So there's that. I don't have on the fall sweater or anything like that. But you know, we make the best of it wherever we are. Coming from Ohio, where fall was a lot like winter. Well, who are we kidding? It was winter. But I'm exactly where I need to be. And so are you. So I thought today I'd just share some loose thoughts with you, some things that are on my mind, and just let you know what's going on, and hopefully it'll inspire you. As always, if I pray anything when I am talking to people, I always want to pray something that says, I want to say, do, and live in such a way that it will cause people to hope again. So let's hope that happens. Here's what I read today. Just scrolling on the internet like we all do. And I stumbled across a statement that was made in an article. I don't even think it was the main thrust of the article, but it really stuck out to me. And it said this. It said, so keep making moves in your life like everything is going to work out, because it is. And I read that, and it just, I don't know, like an arrow right into my heart. Keep making decisions and keep living your life in such a way that you believe it's going to work out, because ultimately on the other side of it, it is going to work out. I have had a tough time. I've said this before, but I've had a tough time actually believing it and living it. And I can't tell you that I've already attained it, but I've gotten so much better at it. And that is when I say to you, you are exactly where you need to be. It's very tough sometimes to understand that or to really believe that. And here's why. Because when we say, well, I'm exactly where I need to be, but yet people will say, well, how can that be true? I'm in debt. How can that be true? I'm going through divorce. How can that be true? I'm going through bankruptcy. How can that be true? I just lost my job. How can that be true? People are talking about me. My family's falling apart. My relatives don't want to have anything to do with me. So how can it be true that I'm exactly where I need to be? Because everything around me is definitely saying that I've got issues that need to be worked on. Well, let me say a few things about that, okay? So sometimes you are exactly where you need to be so that you can rise up and make changes. If you are on a job, or if you are in a relationship that is abusive to you and is tearing you down, and it's destroying what little bit of self-esteem you have left, and you're only seeing yourself as a victim, then you might say, well, how is that? I'm exactly where I need to be. We are exactly where you need to be, and these things are happening to you because it's time for you to stand up and make a change and not be a victim anymore. Years ago, I had a lady that was I was running a counseling center at the time, and I had a lady that came for counseling. And as she came for counseling, she showed up. Her hand was bandaged up and bleeding. She had sunglasses on. And I asked her, I said, what just happened to you? And she said to me, she said, well, my husband is abusive. And I said, how long has this been going on? And she recounted to me over the last few years just abuse and things that he had done. And I don't mean verbally abusive. That was just part of it. I mean, he physically put his hands on this lady. And I told her, I said, if you go back there, it's happened all of these years. And she had told me that he put her in the hospital. He'd almost killed her several times. I said, he's going to accomplish that. He is going to kill you. And I said, what I can do is pick up the phone right now, make a call, get in touch with some people that I know that can offer you help and shelter, and we'll help get you out of that situation. And so she sat there for a minute and she thought, you know, the kids had already gotten out of the house. It was just her and him. And she finally just broke down and said, yes, I want to do it. I want to do it. And I did. I made the call. We got police officers to escort her to her home to get her stuff. Within 24 hours, got her into a shelter. There were people that were in the church at that time that gave enough money for her to stay in a hotel for that night. The program that I'd gotten her into sent somebody over there to stay with her most of the night and talk to her and help her get her affairs in order. And they got her into a shelter house, and she was able to start her life down the road that she needed to go, and got away from a situation that was going to kill her. So somebody might hear that story and say, yeah, but you know, she eventually got to where she was supposed to be. But really, the situation that she was in, she was exactly where she needed to be so that she could rise up and make the changes that were in her life. It's a tough thing. It's really a tough thing. I mean, I look at my life, you know, I lost everything. And I'm on the process of rebuilding my life and rebuilding my ministry and rebuilding my business and rebuilding everything. And I have had a tough time, but I have come to the point to where I'm beginning to realize, yeah, I really am in the place that I need to be. And here's where it becomes very important, because you're in the place you need to be in spite of, not because of. Let me say this again. Now this is, you have to forgive my passion, but this is something that I have locked into, especially this year. As this year comes towards a close and we get ready to go into a brand new year, I have really focused in on this, and it really has become a burning desire in my own life to begin to realize this, that it's absolutely true. That I am where I am supposed to be, not because of what I have or don't have, but I am exactly where I need to be, standing in this spot right now with this phone in my hand, talking to these people about this situation. I am where I need to be, not because of what I have or don't have, but in spite of what I have and in spite of what I don't have. I am exactly where I need to be. Now, many of you know, as I minister to people, I love the writings of the Jewish writings, what many people call the scriptures. I had a lady that got mad at me for calling it the Jewish writings, but that's what it was. It was all about the Jewish people. It was written by Jewish people. How do you not attribute it to the Jews? But here's what I want you to understand about it. When you look at the life of Jesus Christ, whether you're a believer or not, I want you to just hear the intent of the story. When you look at the life of Jesus Christ and the night of his betrayal, one of his disciples by the name of Judas betrayed him, lied on him, made a deal with the religious people of the day to make sure that he ended up being crucified. So the night of his betrayal, he's standing and people come to get him. Roman centurions come to get him. Church leaders come to get him. They're going to arrest him. They do arrest him. And you might look at that and say, well, how is that where Jesus needed to be? He's being arrested. He's being lied on. He's going to end up being left by himself. All of his disciples are going to flee. He's about to be beaten and crucified, and he's going to die, essentially. And you might say, how is that where he needed to be? Because, again, hear the story, the intent of the story. Because there is no resurrection without a crucifixion. And there is no crucifixion without that night of him being betrayed. So he was exactly where he needed to be so that the betrayal could happen. And then when he was being crucified and it was painful, not because of that, but in spite of that, he was still where he needed to be so that there could be a resurrection. And he was exactly where he needed to be to experience the resurrection, because he was exactly where he needed to be when he was crucified, because he was exactly where he needed to be when he was betrayed. And you and I might be in struggles and in difficult times. My times right now are not as difficult as they were before, and they're getting better every day. And yours should be getting better every day, not because of what you're getting added to your life or taken away from your life, but it's because you're always where you need to be. Which leads me back to my beginning statement. Live your life like it's going to work out. Why? Because it is. Just something to think about.